I share this with my acting heroes, my legends, Diane Ladd and Bruce Dern.
Diane Ladd, the veteran actress who earned 3 Academy Award nominations and won a Golden Globe, has passed away peacefully at the age of 89 in Ojai, California. A quiet ending for a woman who spent her life telling stories of pain, kindness, and the strength of the human spirit, both on screen and in real life. No tragedy, no noise, only a complete journey where the spotlight slowly gave way to stillness and the love of family. Diane Ladd was not only a gifted actress, but also a symbol of resilience. She endured some of the deepest hardships a person can face, yet remained standing, like a miracle. So where does true healing come from? If you've ever admired Diane Ladd, leave a comment saying, "Rest in peace, Diane Ladd," to send your condolences to her loved ones. And join us as we look back on her extraordinary life, uncovering the untold stories and hidden struggles behind a seemingly perfect life marked by storms and perseverance. Diane Laddner was born on a Thanksgiving morning in 1935 in Laurel, Mississippi, while her family was visiting relatives. Her birth name was Rose Diane Laddner. Her father was a veterinarian, and her mother was an amateur actress. They raised their only daughter with love, faith, and the stories shared around the dinner table. In the American South, storytelling is how people keep their souls alive. Diane grew up in that world, where church bells mingled with the sound of roosters, where smiles and sorrow lived side by side. She once said, "I learned to observe people from a very young age because they are the truest stories." It was during those years that Diane understood art doesn't begin on a stage, but in compassion. From childhood, she knew she wanted to be an actress, not to become famous, but to tell the stories she saw in the world around her. She graduated from high school at just 16, received a college scholarship but turned it down, believing deep in her heart that the stage was where she truly belonged. And when she changed her name to Diane Ladd, that simple, strong name became the beginning of a journey. The journey of a Southern woman who carried both tenderness and resilience within her. With her love for the arts, she left Mississippi for New York, beginning a period of struggle and survival. By day, Diane worked as a model to afford her rent. By night, she danced at the Copacabana Club, one of the city's most famous night spots. Not long after, she joined the Actors Studio, the legendary school where Al Pacino, Marilyn Monroe, and Paul Newman once studied. It was there that Diane refined her acting style, grounded in truth, emotion, and the observation of human behavior, a method that would later define her entire career. In 1952, Diane made her New York stage debut in Orpheus Descending by Tennessee Williams, a distant relative of hers. And backstage during that very play, she met Bruce Dern, who would later become both her husband and her frequent co-star. Her first television opportunity came in 1957, appearing in the police drama Decoy, in the episode 2 Days to Kill, the first American TV series to feature a female police officer as its lead. She played a teenage mistress of a gangster, a young woman trapped between love and guilt. The role lasted only a few minutes, but it marked her first time on screen, the start of a long journey ahead. From then on, Diane worked tirelessly, appearing in television programs such as Perry Mason, 77 Sunset Strip, and The Fugitive. In 1970, she co-starred with Jack Nicholson and Bruce Dern in The Rebel Rousers, and a few years later appeared in Roman Polanski's Chinatown, 1974. She once said, "Hollywood isn't for the impatient, but if you live for art, it will repay you with its own heart." Diane never sought the spotlight. What she searched for was the truth of human nature in every role. And that pursuit carried her from an unknown girl in New York to one of the most respected actresses in Hollywood. In 1974, at the age of 39, Diane Ladd reached the defining moment of her career. After more than 2 decades of relentless work, from Broadway stages to television and countless supporting roles, she was chosen by Martin Scorsese to play Flo, the sharp-tongued waitress in Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Ellen Burstyn was the star of the film, but it was Ladd who made audiences both laugh and cry at the same time. Her now iconic lines, "Kiss me where the sun don't shine," and "I can lie under you, eat fried chicken, and do crossword puzzles all at once," brought bursts of laughter to theaters, yet beneath the humor, Flo remained a warm, strong, and lonely woman, a mirror of Diane's own life. Critic Roger Ebert wrote, "The movie is filled with beautifully realized moments. The scene where Flo and Alice talk candidly under the sun is one of the most perfect." Scorsese, coming from the world of independent cinema, encouraged his actors to improvise, something Diane excelled at. In a 2014 interview, she recalled, "The scene where we sat outside in the sun was completely improvised. I remembered my father's name, Preston Paul, so I said, 'My daddy was PP, and don't call me PP, because I belong to you.' That was something he really said. Marty let me put that in the film." Few people know that in one background scene at the diner, there was a little girl eating ice cream in the corner. That was Laura Dern, her daughter, only 4 years old at the time. The role earned Diane her first Academy Award nomination, transforming her from a television actress into one of Hollywood's most respected character actors. The film's success later inspired the Alice sitcom series, and the character of Flo became a cultural icon, the embodiment of the Southern woman, tough, funny, and deeply compassionate. She once said, "Acting isn't about pretending, it's a mirror that reflects humanity. We are more alike than we think." That year on the red carpet, Diane Ladd didn't just earn fame. She opened a new chapter in her artistic legacy, where a mother and her little daughter, appearing together for only a brief moment in one frame, would begin a shared journey spanning 2 generations of actresses over the next half-century. After Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, Diane became one of Hollywood's most sought-after names. She appeared in Roman Polanski's Chinatown, then stepped into television with the sitcom Alice, 1976-1985. The TV adaptation of the very film that had earned her an Oscar nomination. Though she didn't reprise her role as Flo, Diane returned as Belle Dupree, another supporting character that won her a Golden Globe in 1980. Proof of her unique charm and power on the small screen. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Diane continued to prove that true talent never fades with time. In David Lynch's Wild at Heart, 1990, she portrayed a deranged, obsessive, and tragic mother, a performance that left audiences both terrified and heartbroken. The film, starring Laura Dern and Nicolas Cage as lovers on the run, caused an uproar at Cannes for its explicit sexual and violent scenes, nearly getting banned in the United States. Amid that storm, Diane Ladd, Laura's real-life mother, played the film's villain, embodying the darkness and sin her daughter's character was trying to escape. That emotional duality made Ladd's performance hauntingly powerful and earned her another Oscar nomination. A year later, she and her daughter reunited in Rambling Rose, 1991, directed by Martha Coolidge, one of the most distinctive and challenging coming-of-age dramas of their careers. Rambling Rose stood out for many reasons. It was praised for its sensitive portrayal of female desire and autonomy, yet stirred controversy for its depiction of sexuality in the conservative setting of the American South during the Great Depression. The story centers on the Hillier family, Robert Duvall and Diane Ladd, who take in a young woman named Rose, Laura Dern, a lost soul caught between instinct and the yearning for love. When Rose sneaks into the bedroom of the teenage boy Buddy, played by Lucas Haas, only 13 at the time. The film crosses a delicate line between taboo and compassion. Many viewers at the time found the scene uncomfortable and crossing the line, accusing the film of romanticizing adolescent desire. Yet critics saw in it a brave attempt by Coolidge and her two leads to explore the complex nature of desire, vulnerability, and female agency. Though Rambling Rose won numerous independent awards and still holds a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, it remained deeply divisive, with 57% of general audiences rating it low for being disturbing or too provocative. That controversy marked one of the most turbulent chapters in Diane Ladd's career. She was celebrated for her extraordinary performance while simultaneously facing questions about moral boundaries in art. Yet beyond the noise, Ladd's portrayal of the educated, calm, yet fiercely protective mother, defending Rose's right to make her own choices against a patriarchal medical system, became one of the most powerful feminist moments in early 1990s cinema. Her explosive scene rejecting the forced hysterectomy for Rose was hailed as a declaration of women's right to control their own bodies and earned Ladd an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Alongside Laura Dern's nomination for Best Actress, the two made history as the first and only real-life mother and daughter ever nominated for Oscars for the same film. It was living proof that, through all the controversy and challenge, Diane Ladd's art could transcend every boundary. But Diane never stopped at acting. She wrote books, directed, produced, and served on the actors branch of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, a position few women of her generation ever attained. Above all, she spent decades advocating for women in the film industry, encouraging young talents to have the courage to tell their own stories. In an interview, she once said, "I never chased the spotlight. I just wanted to act out what people usually hide: love, fear, and their most vulnerable moments." From the sharp-tongued waitress Flo to the mother in Rambling Rose, from the mad woman in Wild at Heart to the gentle storyteller in her 80s, Diane Ladd never stopped transforming, not to escape reality, but to reflect it with her whole heart. And perhaps the most beautiful image of her entire journey isn't found in any film at all, but on the Oscar red carpet, when Diane Ladd and Laura Dern stood hand in hand, two generations bound together, sharing the same artistic flame that has been passed down for nearly a century. One lived to inspire, the other continues to live to tell that story to the world. On the surface, Diane Ladd's life and career seemed steady, almost perfectly aligned, as if she were born to walk beneath the stage lights. But behind that calm exterior lay a raw, harrowing truth that no one would ever wish to experience. A story that still feels like salt rubbed into an unhealed wound whenever it's told. It all began with a marriage that once seemed destined to last. In the late 1950s, while still a young actress finding her footing in New York, Diane met Bruce Dern during a stage production of Tennessee Williams's Orpheus Descending. Bruce had joined the cast late when the play moved off-Broadway. They met during their first performance, but as Diane later recalled, it was definitely not love at first sight. In her memoir, Honey, Baby, Mine, she remembered that first encounter. "I was doing a monologue when he came on stage, rummaging through props and stealing the audience's attention. After the scene ended, I dragged him backstage and said, 'Listen, buddy, you'd better take my advice. When I'm doing a monologue, you don't do anything.' He just said, 'All right,' and I added, 'I mean it. I'll throw you right off that stage if you do it again. Don't you dare.' That's how we started. From that sharp warning, they slowly became friends, and then lovers. One evening, while Diane was preparing to take a break before auditioning for another play, Bruce helped her study a new character. They spent the night at a 24-hour diner, talking until late. Bruce invited her to his house in New Jersey, the same house he once shared with his ex-wife. Diane recalled, "We had dinner, lay on the floor listening to soft classical music. I thought he was the loneliest man in the world. Then he came closer, gentle and tender. And that was it. My darling, I was gone." They married in 1960, believing that love and the stage would walk side by side for the rest of their lives. But fate has its own way of testing the strong. That very night, when Bruce invited Diane home, they conceived their first child. Bruce had been told he couldn't have children, so when Diane discovered she was pregnant, they both saw it as a miracle. "I slept with your father once, Laura," Diane told her daughter in Honey Baby Mine. "And that's when I got pregnant. It wasn't planned, but it was meant to be." In 1961, their first daughter, Diane Elizabeth, was born. But only 18 months later, the worst thing a mother can ever experience happened. The little girl fell into a swimming pool, hit her head, lost consciousness, and died instantly while in the care of a nanny. Diane recalled in an interview on CBS Sunday Morning, "She fell into the pool. It happened in an instant, and you never forget that. A child is not supposed to die before her parents." In Honey Baby Mine, she admitted, "That pain is indescribable. It completely broke me." The death of their little girl tore apart their marriage, their faith, and whatever innocence remained of their youth. Despite the support of friends and colleagues, Diane said she never truly got over it. From that moment on, her life took a different path, one where pain didn't just destroy, but forged a new version of her, stronger, deeper, and forever marked by a wound that would never heal, yet would become the wellspring of every role she played afterward. Doctors told her that after such a traumatic physical and emotional shock, she would never be able to have children again. But Diane refused to accept that fate. She threw herself into studying medicine, reading everything she could, asking questions, and seeking ways to heal both her body and her spirit. In 1966, while filming The Wild Angels alongside Bruce Dern, she discovered she was pregnant. And on February 10, 1967, Laura Dern was born, a miracle rising from the ashes of grief. Diane once said that her daughter was the first miracle of her life. But miracles cannot heal every wound. The death of her first child remained a silent scar, one that slowly pushed the marriage apart. When Laura was just 2 years old, Bruce and Diane divorced. Years later, she admitted that the real reason behind their separation was a grief that never healed. Losing a child. It's almost impossible to get through. We were struggling actors barely making ends meet. We had to live in the very house where our little girl died because we couldn't afford to move. Our families could have helped, but they didn't. We were torn apart. After 1969, they went their separate ways, both eventually remarrying. Yet strangely enough, they maintained an unusually deep friendship, a quiet bond born from the same wound they once shared. A few years later, Diane married William A. Shea Jr., a film industry worker in New York. That marriage lasted only a few years before fading away. Without noise or bitterness, just two people passing through each other's lives with unhealed pain still lingering. By 1999, at the age of 60, Diane found true peace beside Robert Charles Hunter, the former CEO of PepsiCo Food Systems. They met while working on a film project and quickly recognized a rare emotional connection. That same year, they married and co-founded the production company Excel Entertainment, with Hunter overseeing operations and Diane handling the creative side. This marriage lasted more than 2 decades, the most enduring relationship of her life. They lived quietly by the ocean in California, as companions more than celebrity and businessman. Hunter made only one on-screen appearance, in David Lynch's Inland Empire, 2006, a film featuring both Diane and Laura Dern. In August 2025, Hunter passed away in Fort Worth, Texas, while visiting his children. Diane made no official statement. She simply reposted The Hollywood Reporter's obituary with a short caption, "My love, my lifelong companion." As for her daughter, Laura grew up with her mother and grandmother, Mary Bernadette Ladner, in a small apartment in California. Bruce lived nearby in Malibu, but Laura was raised mainly by the women in the family. "My mom and my grandma raised me. My dad, he didn't really know what to do with a little kid," Laura joked on the WTF with Mark Maron podcast. Diane wasn't just a mother. She was Laura's first teacher, companion, and role model. Yet after all she had endured, she was also the one who once tried to stop her daughter from entering the acting world, knowing too well the pain fame could bring. "I said, no, darling, no, no, no. Be a doctor, be a lawyer. When you save someone's life, nobody cares if your chin's too high or your butt's too big," Diane recalled with both firmness and humor on Live with Kelly and Mark in 2023. But destiny had already made its choice. At 7 years old, little Laura followed her mother to the set of Martin Scorsese's Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, the very film that had earned Diane her first Oscar nomination. There, Scorsese offered Laura an ice cream cone for a diner scene, and she ended up eating 19 of them as the shot was repeatedly retaken. When it finally wrapped, the director turned to Diane and said, "If she can eat 19 ice creams and still act, she was born to be an actress." Diane just smiled. She knew, just as she had many years earlier, that Laura Dern had found her inevitable path, the path of a storyteller guided by pure emotion. From that point on, mother and daughter didn't just share the same profession. They walked together through life and death. When Diane developed severe lung disease caused by pesticide exposure, doctors told her she had only 6 months to live. It was Laura who pulled her out of the hospital, found the right doctor, and ultimately saved her mother's life. "My daughter saved my life. Never give up if you still have love," Diane said through tears. That story later became the heart of her 2023 memoir, Honey, Baby Mine, a book born from hours of intimate conversations between mother and daughter, where they healed, reconciled, and came to understand each other more deeply than ever before. Between them existed not only blood, but the shared journey of 2 women who had lost everything and found their way back to each other through one simple belief: that love, if strong enough, can conquer even death. Years later, that miracle repeated itself. But in a way, no one could have imagined. In 2018, Diane faced a devastating health crisis. She was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, a rare, incurable disease that causes lung tissue to harden, making every breath painful and labored. Doctors told her she had only 6 months to live, and according to Diane, the illness stemmed from years of toxic pesticides spraying in her neighborhood, which had permanently damaged her lungs. The only hope, doctors said, was to expand her lung capacity through regular exercise, something nearly impossible for someone struggling just to breathe. But Laura Dern, by then an Oscar-winning actress, refused to accept that. She pulled her mother out of the hospital and refused to let go. Together, they began slow, painful walks along the beaches of Los Angeles. For Diane, every step felt like torture. Her lungs burned, her heart raced. and her breath came in fragile gasps. But Laura was always beside her, holding her hand, encouraging her, never allowing her to stop. I thought I was dying, so Laura and I told each other everything, Diane shared with People. Healing myself and our relationship was already a beautiful beginning. Those walks, which began as a desperate fight for survival, slowly turned into the most profound conversations of their lives. They spoke about loss, misunderstandings, and the things left unsaid for decades. Laura, wanting to preserve every breath and every word from her mother, began recording their talks. At first, just as keepsakes for herself and her children. But later those recordings became the foundation for their dual memoir, Honey, Baby Mine, 2023. When asked why she decided to make such deeply personal conversations public, Laura said, "I wanted to encourage people to understand each other better, more deeply, and more truthfully." And Diane simply smiled. "My daughter saved my life. Never give up if you still have love." From those seaside walks, she gradually recovered. Something doctors called a medical miracle. But for Diane, the miracle didn't come from medicine. It came from love, the same force that had once taken everything from her and then gave her life back. That story of survival and maternal devotion was not just another chapter. It became living proof of the power of forgiveness and faith between two generations of women, one who lost a child and one who saved her mother. From the mother who once stood by a swimming pool holding her first child's lifeless body, to the mother later pulled back from death by the daughter she bore. Diane Ladd's life is the story of pain transformed into light. And perhaps what makes her an icon is not just her legendary performances, but the way she lived, with a heart that had been broken many times, yet never stopped beating for love. After recovering, Diane returned to the set of Hallmark's Chesapeake Shores, sometimes still wearing an oxygen tube between takes. She called it the second act of my life, both as a gesture of gratitude and a quiet promise that they're not ready to close the curtain on my play just yet. In her final years, she lived quietly in Ojai with her family, writing books, directing, teaching acting, and attending public talks with serenity and gratitude. Laura Dern was always by her side, the two appearing together as a lasting symbol of maternal devotion in Hollywood. On the day Diane passed, Laura wrote, "Now she's flying with her angels. I'm grateful I was with her until the very end." It wasn't just a farewell. It was the closing line of a life lived fully, for love, for art, and for humanity. Over more than 6 decades in the craft, Diane Ladd left behind over 200 roles, 3 Academy Award nominations, 1 Golden Globe, and generations of devoted admirers. Yet what truly defined her was not the trophies, but the vitality she breathed into her characters. The way they could make audiences laugh, ache, and then fall silent long after the screen went dark. When asked once about her secret to truthful acting, Diane simply replied, "Reflect the best in humanity. That's what true art is." She didn't act to be recognized. She acted to understand people. To her, every character, whether a sharp-tongued waitress, a lost mother, or a weary Southern woman, carried a piece of humanity worth listening to. That belief made Diane Ladd not just an actress, but a storyteller of emotion. Her legacy doesn't rest in the glow of the spotlight, but in the connections she forged, between mother and daughter, between art and empathy. Laura Dern, continuing her mother's legacy, once said at a tribute, "My mother taught me that kindness never goes out of style, and that the greatest strength is the ability to love, even after you've lost so much." Diane Ladd may be gone, But her performances, her lessons, and her faith in the power of resilience to save a life continue to live on in the hearts of millions. She never needed glory to become immortal. Her compassion and endurance did that for her. You Are My Sunshine, the song Diane and Laura once sang together, now echoes like a tender farewell. Not a sad tune, but a melody of love, of memories that never fade. She lived, she loved, and she fought, never allowing pain to defeat her. From a mother who lost her child to a woman saved by that same child, Diane Ladd experienced every note of the human condition and left behind a light that will never go out. Now, after more than 80 years of performances, laughter, and tears, she can finally rest. Live simply, as she did, but always fight to create your own miracles in the most ordinary of ways. If you've ever loved Diane Ladd, the woman who turned pain into peace, who proved that kindness can outlast time itself, leave a message of tribute. Because for someone like her, the final curtain is never truly the end. If this story brought you new insight or touched your heart, please share this video with others who admire Diane Ladd as much as you do. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss more inspiring stories about timeless Hollywood icons. See you in the next video.